Sama, thank you so much for coming on to Startup Steroid. We've been speaking for so long, and this is the first time we've been able to meet face to face. So I'm really excited for this conversation and to get to know your story a little bit better. Uh,
Likewise. I mean, been speaking to you for months on Clubhouse and
yeah,
finally face to the name. So really excited to be here.
fantastic. So before we get into your startup and Down to Dash, tell us a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself to the audience.
Sure. So I'm Sama. I am originally from Mumbai, India. I am a 29-year-old entrepreneur. Started my journey with entrepreneurship pretty much when I was, I think, in the eighth or ninth grade, because of my jewelry business, my family business in India. Was always fascinated by the challenge and just the excitement of creating something. And I also co-founded a social enterprise when I was in college. So I was a part of this group called Enactus, and we empowered rural women in India to deliver salon services at people's houses. So that was the first time I think I properly created something. And then I also had a phase where I just wanted to be a Bollywood actress. But but I think with destiny, I ended up in the UK for a year, got a scholarship to study at Warwick Business School,
Nice.
and worked in marketing in both in India and in New York, and ended up somehow co-founding DownToDash. But yeah, also super passionate about hiking, food, dancing, and just meeting new people.
That's fantastic. And meeting new people is really the topic of the day. So we'll get to discuss that in 1 second. But tell me a little bit more about the social enterprise you founded when you were in college. That's really interesting. In college, I barely had enough time to study, so starting a new venture, I think, is a real challenge. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, it was really exciting. So it was a part of Enactus. It's at that time it was called Site Students in Free Enterprise. So we had a little bit
Mm.
of help from the site network, but basically it was me and two of my friends, and we just identified that the whole salon services space, the home salon services space, was an untapped market at the time, and there was a slum in Worli, so we recruited a couple of women and we trained them. We taught them etiquette training, salon services, manicure, pedicure, whatnot. I mean, we got them professional trained, but we also trained them personally. And it was amazing to just see that transformation. I think that's the first time I fell in love with um, seeing that transformation that you can create in the world as an entrepreneur. And I think totally, while I was in college, I was involved. Once I graduated, we passed it on to our colleagues. But I think totally about 10 women we transformed during the program, and seeing them earn their own income through our venture, and then being able to afford their son's education and whatnot. It was an amazing experience.
That's fantastic. And having an experience like that early on, especially in your college years, I think that sort of really solidifies that entrepreneurship. I feel in your nature. Now, I know you said you moved to US to New York from England. That was around 2016, 17. Is that right?
No, so after the UK at Warwick, I came back to India. That was, I think, it was 24 end of 2014,
Okay.
and then I moved to New York, the US, in end of 2016.
Perfect. Okay, so let's pick it up from there. 2016. What was the intention behind moving here? What were you doing?
Yeah, it was a pretty crazy journey. I mean, it was. I was also working in my family business, the jewelry business, and we had clients in the US. So, I mean, primarily it was for that. I mean, I don't think I planned to move. It was more like a go with the flow situation where I came to New York, fell in love with it, ended up staying. But initially it was for family business. Also, the idea for Down to Dash, we had it But it was just an idea at that point. So I was also, testing the waters with that. So it was for work mainly.
Got it. And you actually met your co-founder from DownToDash in UK. So you
The
guys had
UK.
known each other for a while and
Yeah.
sort of thought about this idea for a little bit. How did that idea become a business once you were in US?
Sure, great question. So, do you want me to give you a bit of a story as to
Yeah,
how we got?
absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, we were both working full time, and we didn't actually plan to start a business together. We were friends catching up one day, and we were chatting about how I would play basketball when I was in college, and we needed more players, and we used to also go for Zumba classes, and sometimes you don't end up going because you don't have friends to go with, and we thought that in our college experience, why was there no way to meet students that you don't share the dorm with or classes with?
Right.
We thought, why not create like a Tinder for friends based on activities? And initially we said, let's call it buddy, like food buddy or laundry buddy or workout buddy. So
Right.
that's pretty much where the idea came when we were talking about our college experience. And moving to
Nice.
New York definitely also made me think about the experience of moving to a city alone, not knowing anyone, how intimidating it can be, and again, wanting to do a specific activity, especially in a city like New York that has so much to offer, without having, a way to find someone to do it at that particular time, even if you have tons of friends.
Yep.
What if no one's available at that time? Which is why we thought of, creating this spontaneous activity buddy app.
Absolutely. How tell me a little bit about the name Down to Dash. Yeah, there has to be an origin story behind that as well, right?
Yeah, for sure. There definitely is. So like I said, initially we wanted to call it Buddy, but we did research on trademark and copyright, and Buddy was too common a name to use.
Right.
So we really thought about creating a name. We thought about it so much, and I don't know. I don't actually remember how exactly we came up with Down to Dash, but we were just talking about how as millennials we say, "Are you down to come over for lunch? Are you down to play tennis?" And that's just how a lot of millennials talk in general. So we thought, why not create Down to Dash? Fill in the blank with what you're down to do, especially because for short we say IUDTD. So we thought, it might be kind of catchy. Why not? Let's try it out. We asked a couple of people, and they said, yeah, sure, try it out.
That's fantastic. So I understand that the idea was to really connect with more people, but what sort of led to online platform and app and those things? That's very different from sort of creating an IT infrastructure is very different from what you were doing before. So how did that sort of manifest itself?
For sure, yeah. My co-founder and I actually both are business marketing people. We do not have a technical background, and actually, a lot of people told us not to start a tech company because we did not have the technical skills.
Right.
But we just thought about how, in order to scale, I think in terms of scale, I'm pretty much a tech enthusiast, and I'm always excited to try the newest apps, Facebook, IG, Instagram, and whatnot, a Snapchat. So we thought in order to reach that scale that we wanted to reach, the best way is to create an app. And you know, millennials are always on their phones. And also, we thought about how social media has been criticized to create isolation, loneliness, depression. And we actually want to change the meaning of that. We want to make social media more social, like use technology to foster real life interactions. So we pretty much decided that the best way to go about it, and obviously now we're also an events company, but at that point in time, we said, let's create an app. And I think we were
Right.
also pretty naive. We didn't really know how hard it is to create an app, market it. We were pretty clueless, to be honest, at the time. We saw the social network, and I think actually I've seen a lot of founders have this myth in their heads from the social network about creating the next big thing and going viral overnight. We were one of those, and We had no idea how hard it's actually going to be.
Right. And how long it takes. Yeah, it doesn't, you can't go viral overnight, right? So tell me about the process of actually building out the platform. How did you go about it? How did you test it? Et cetera, et cetera.
Sure. So we partnered with a technical team based in India. So we got some referrals. We were pretty lucky to connect with a tech team that was amazing. That is amazing, and that has really helped us understand the technical side of things. So we partnered with them, and I think we just spoke to people, just went all out. My partner Anuja, her father runs a private equity firm. So he's been an advisor from the start. He connected us to a lot of people, and we just started to talking to a lot of people. New York as well. New York is just full of resources. Pre-pandemic, there was 10 events to attend every single day in person. So we would just attend all these networking events. Go reach out to founders on LinkedIn. I remember doing so much cold outreach and just talking to them and asking them about their journey, about learning. I think just from the start, our focus was to learn as much as we can. And we're first time tech founders, so we just adopted that attitude of learning and pivoting. We knew we would have to pivot based on our journey, based on what people told us, and really focused on that consumer centric approach of listening to consumers.
Nice.
Even post launch, I would go out on the app and meet people and just be a user, not say that I'm the co-founder of the app, and
Right.
focus on just talking to people, taking feedback, and that's pretty much the method we've adopted from the start.
That's fantastic. And how did you get that initial traction as far as getting the events, getting the users on the platform? How long did it take you to reach sort of a critical mass where you sort of knew that this was going to work?
Yeah, great question. I mean, so we actually, the first version of the app was just like a Tinder interface. So I would say it was a failed product because we got a couple of thousand users just by posting on Facebook groups. These college Facebook groups. I joined like 200 plus Facebook groups, posted on them.
Right.
Got a couple of thousand users, but none of them really stayed. So we
Mm.
revamped the app. So I think it took, like I said, it was a side project for a couple of years. It took a couple of years to revamp the app and create a sticky product because
Right.
I think a lot of founders, again, make this mistake, myself included, that um, you're acquiring users, but are you really retaining them? What's the engagement like? How much time are they spending? What's the retention? How many friends are they inviting? So when I started fundraising, I realized how serious it is to keep tab of these metrics and be on top of it and make sure our engagement, the product is super sticky. So it took a couple of years to create a sticky product. And in terms of events, so that's actually, I would say, um, kind of like a parallel business. They're interrelated, but they're still kind of separate. We started doing events 2017. So I partnered with someone. There's Ritin. He runs a group called New York Entrepreneur Startup and Business Coalition, and I actually ended up attending his networking event. He was doing events in New York for 10 years, and I just went after him. I think now when he tells that story, he says this girl, she just she just kept on telling me, do an event with me, do an event with me. It's super funny. I think he thought I was like a stalker. And he somehow agreed. I told him, I'll get you like a venue for free. I'll get you food sponsors. Just give me a chance. A
Right.
partner with me. And he gets tons of requests all the time because he has such a large audience. I
Yeah.
think 50K to 100K. I don't even know.
Including myself. I've attended his events. So yeah, that's great
Yeah.
that you were able to get him, partner with
So
him.
he said, okay, fine, I'll partner with you. But I wasn't making any revenue from it. I was just,
Right.
being a partner, getting promotions, but no revenue for, again, the first 2 years. And yeah, now he's my events partner. We do virtual events together as well. And it's been pretty amazing to have him as a partner because I didn't have to spend that marketing budget on acquiring that community, but
Right.
I kind of tapped his community. So it's been pretty amazing working with him.
That's fantastic. And yeah, finding a partner like that can really take your business to the next level. So congratulations on that. So that brings us to about 2019 or so, I believe. And now you're doing events, in-person events. And then 2020 comes around and you run right into uh, global pandemic, complete lockdown. How did things change?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy when the pandemic hit. Initially, I thought it would be a couple of months and we'll go back to in-person events, but it stayed for really long. But I think our team was super quick. So as soon as the pandemic hit, I think within 2 weeks, we started hosting virtual events. We thought,
Wow. Okay.
why not leverage technology, Zoom, and we pivoted to the online world, and we started hosting our events on Zoom. And on Zoom, you can divide people into breakout rooms. So we actually thought that maybe this is an opportunity for us because people are stuck in their houses. And even when I would do calls with people, a lot of people would tell me that I might not have used your platform before pre-pandemic, but now I'm bored, I'm stuck at home. So I'm definitely down to attend your events. And yeah, we started hosting the startup events virtually immediately, and also the whole corporate side, the B2B side of the business was born post-pandemic to engage
Really?
with.
Okay. So tell me a little bit more about B2B side, because B2C I really understand, and people wanting to connect with other people. What's the B2B motivation?
Yeah, sure. So we started hosting virtual games nights, virtual meditations, this event called Table Topics. Again, these were all in-person events, pivoted to Zoom events. Table Topics is, deep conversations on specific topics like social media, blockchain, um, food, different topics based on the group. So someone actually told me that they were struggling to transition the employees, their team from offline to online and to engage the employees. And they said, why don't you host these happy hours, these virtual games night and whatnot for my employees? Because we do stuff like scavenger hunt. So my team, someone from my team who will host the event, and she'll say, go and find something in your room that resembles yourself, resembles your quarantine binge. So stuff like that. So it's super interactive. And we just started partnering with companies, and we realized that there was a need for it, and that's how the B2B side was born. We started hosting these virtual interactive experiences to engage employees.
Fantastic. And what was the traction like on the B2B end?
Yeah, sure. So right now we have 4 B2B clients, a couple of others in the pipeline, and we're actually recently profitable from the B2B side.
Nice. Okay. Congratulations on that. That's a huge milestone. Um, how many events are you holding on the B2B end specifically, and then maybe across the board, every day, every week, every month? Any metrics you can share with us?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I have exact because it depends from month to month. Um, I would say a couple of events a week.
Okay.
Yeah, a couple of events a week,
Nice. Okay. So
including startup events and B2B events.
got it. Got it. Okay.
Two startup
Fantastic.
events a month. And the B2B events, it kind of depends on. So we have like retainers with clients, so it depends on that.
Okay. So I understand number of events, but maybe a better question might be how many connections, or how many people are attending. Maybe that's a better question. During the pandemic, what sort of traction were you getting on your events?
Yeah, that's a great question. So recently we did like a survey, and we actually found out that we made 250,000 plus connections during the pandemic.
Wow.
And Yeah, it's been amazing to connect people during this time. Especially, so we have this event that Priyanka, a partner of ours, she runs called Collective Calm, where she makes people meditate and she makes people talk about what they're grateful for, especially, in the first couple of months. And we had someone that showed up who lost their mom due to COVID, and she was actually crying during the event. And she really built heart to heart connections with people at the event, and opened up, and she became a regular at that event. And I think it really helped her to get past that experience. And we had so many other people, healthcare workers, that showed up to these gratitude events, to Small Talk Sucks, which is authentic relating. So I think just being that resource for these people that were going through a terrible time was amazing. I mean, we didn't even think of it as something that's going to grow our business, make us revenue, get us to our next round of funding. But we were just focused on, helping people, and, kind of being a resource to survive this terrible pandemic. And it was pretty amazing to see the kind of stories, the kind of connections that were made during this terrible time.
Absolutely. And 250,000 connections during the pandemic, that's pretty amazing. Which means you continued your growth trajectory even when there were no live events, right?
Yes, 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 definitely. I think we grew more post pandemic.
Wow. Okay, that's fantastic. So, one core theme that I keep hearing is that you guys are adapting to technology as soon as they become available, or as soon as they're fashionable. Now the big thing is Clubhouse and live communication. Tell us about like when you started coming on to Clubhouse and what sort of traction you've received.
Yeah, I love Clubhouse. Firstly, have to say that it is my favorite networking tool. I actually just said this today on Clubhouse that in my experience with networking events in New York from 2016 to now, I think I've made more quality connections on Clubhouse than I have in all those years combined.
Oh, wow.
For example, David Rose. So David Rose is the founder of Gast and New York Angels, and I
Yep.
remember, filling out Gast and pitching New York Angels and whatnot, and I never imagined that he would be, such an integral part of the rooms that we host, and standing next to me on stage on Clubhouse. Now literally he's a friend. So I think something like that is only possible on Clubhouse. So firstly, just have to say I absolutely love Clubhouse. And yes, I think I started using Clubhouse. So I was invited to Clubhouse in October, but
Oh,
I have
wow.
to admit, I didn't really understand the value. October 2020. I started hosting rooms and actively using Clubhouse in January 2021. And I started off, I just, someone actually made me an admin of Startup Club. I don't know who it was. So I started hosting rooms on Startup Club, and I thought, why not do some interviews? And I mean, events is such a huge part of my business, so why not? And then I saw the potential and knew that, I still think that at some point in time there will be all these virtual conferences, paid events on Clubhouse with sponsorship. I think it's going to be huge. So I started hosting these, virtual speaker series on Clubhouse immediately in Jan, and I interviewed Sohail on my one of my
Yeah.
startup club rooms, and a couple of others that now are my partners on Clubhouse, and we co-host rooms with all the time. So yeah, that's how I started off on Clubhouse, and now I think we host rooms almost every day. We have a room except for Friday. Um, it's amazing.
That's fantastic. And yeah, that's really how we met. So I know you're extremely active. And Sohail, the guy you mentioned, his investor interview is also in our archive. So people can certainly access that as well, get to know him. But yeah, it's amazing what kind of connections you can make on Clubhouse and conversations you can have. So congratulations for being an early adapter of that technology as well. And carving out your own niche on that platform. So that brings us up to today. You've been extremely successful. achieved a lot of very important milestones. What's the goal for rest of the year, rest of 2021, and maybe into 2022? What are the next milestones in your mind?
Yeah, thank you. Really appreciate it. I think in terms of next goals, next steps right now is we are fundraising. We just started fundraising this week. Our official seed round. We were going to do it last year actually, but we postponed it because of the pandemic. We thought it would be better to do it when things calm down a bit. So we're fundraising, and also we want to take so for the tech side of things, we want to take it to the next level, especially with things opening up a bit. And we also want to scale Clubhouse. I think, as I said, I think there's a lot of potential. So keep at it at Clubhouse in terms of doing events and whatnot. And our plan really is, I mean, our vision. I think my co-founder and I, from the start, is to get acquired because personally I believe that to achieve that scale and world dominance and spread our mission all over the world, the best way to do it is by getting acquired, which is why we've been focused on that relationship building approach from the start. So building relationships with those potential acquirers, sending them we have a newsletter we send out. Again, also the startup events, the VCs, we've been building relationships with them by hosting these startup events. So I think that's pretty much our focus, building these relationships and hopefully getting acquired in the next couple of years and scaling.
That's fantastic. And yeah, best of luck with that. I think you're on a really good trajectory right now, and I think you're sort of headed in the right direction. So that's fantastic. If anyone wants to get to know more about your company, we'll have the links in the description, but tell me a little bit about how people can connect with you, how they can get to know the company.
Sure. I mean, they can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm also super active on LinkedIn, or Instagram, or Clubhouse now,
Or Clubhouse.
or DownToDash itself.
Right.
Also,
Okay.
if you're in my location, yeah, then DownToDash also. It's a location-based app, but LinkedIn, Instagram, either way works.
Fantastic. And we'll have all of those things, all of the resources linked in the description below. So people can, if they're driving or something, they don't have to stop. They can just click on the link and access that directly. Sama, thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate your time. Really appreciate getting to know you over the last few months on Clubhouse. And hopefully we can continue that conversation and maybe even start a few rooms together. I'd be really excited to do that. So thank you for coming on today.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you for all the value you bring to our Clubhouse rooms. Always appreciate it. The Pitch Club fam. And thank you for this today. It was fun.
Absolutely. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.